Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Ricecast. Louis is not here today because his Wi-Fi is down, so I'm the host. Today we're talking about Ghost in the Shell. This is our first episode doing a discussion on a specific anime. Anyone want to start? Or actually, no. First, we're going through our general opinions individually in a sentence. So how about we go in the order that it's listed in voice chat?
Okay, go
Okay,
Avik. Avik is
okay.
first.
So the only thing I can say is Ghost in the Shell debates philosophy very nicely, like how are humans actually human, and what makes us human, and yeah, that's about it. Okay, I'll give it a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, Gabby, your turn.
Okay, well, so because I did the IB and I lost most of my brain cells in the process of taking HL Bio and HL Art, I did not understand what was going on at all. So I think the plot was a bit complicated for me to follow. Probably what I appreciated the most was like the really nice scenic shots and kind of the montages that they have of the city. They felt a bit long, but it wasn't long in like a well it can get a bit boring, but it didn't feel like it was pointless. Like you really got to see. I just like buildings.
All right.
Right.
I gave it a 7 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The film tries to mix complex themes, action, and I guess a rich story, and basically it manages to become a jumbled mix of shit all that is incredibly boring to watch, which is why I gave it a 3.
Okay. I think I really enjoyed the philosophical elements and the story, and the animation and music are very nice too. I like the music. It's very atmospheric and it provides. I just really liked it. Yep. I gave it a 7 out of 10, but I'm considering making it 8 after a few rewatches. Yep.
Mm-hmm. I thought the movie was decent, even though you can think about it for a while after watching the movie, but not for that long that I think that the philosophical arguments outweigh how much of a jumbled mess a lot of the plot was. So I gave it a 5.
I gave Ghost in the Shell an 8 out of 10. Like the plot is a bit weak, yes, and you have to follow it carefully to understand. But it's beautifully written, beautifully directed. It's very enjoyable to watch, and I had a lot of fun watching it. And it raises some very pressing questions regarding our identity. And I generally have a soft spot for science fiction anime.
All right. So like when we're talking about plot, right? Like this is Flowers the plot. You guys said like the plot was confusing, right?
Not
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say it's confusing.
It's not
just
confusing. It was just shit.
Okay.
It was really, it drops you in the middle of it and doesn't really. It's super vague. It's not confusing. It's just vague, and it doesn't
It's
really.
not very dynamic. Like you understand what's going on. It's not a very complicated plot. The only thing that makes it complicated is like the world building.
Really, what was complicated about the world building?
I feel like it's like understanding kind of it's like what you said
Oh,
about
like the
them
cyborg
kind of
stuff.
dropping you in. It's just like you have to really understand like what ghosts are, like what people are without their ghosts, like what all these technological advancements are, and you have to really understand that to be able to fully understand the plot. And I felt like I just didn't understand that at all.
Wow.
Well, so
Watch the
basically,
remake. You might
sum
get
it up.
Remake
something.
sucks.
I know it sucks. That's why I'm telling you to watch it.
That's
I
kind of
think
true
that-
though, because like the concept that or rather the whole idea that the person is stealing people's memories and adding memories in kind of goes under the radar until later in the movie when you're like, oh, that's what was happening.
I think part of my issue with the plot is the fact it kind of feels like they've got the philosophy themes that they're trying to put in, and it's just jumping from one plot piece to another to try and build a narrative that is more based around trying to explore certain ideas than a cohesive and linear storyline.
I felt like the storyline was quite linear. I like they mostly they all focused on like the same issue of the puppet master,
I feel
right?
like the storyline felt a bit like an accessory to the world building. Like it was more about the world building than it was about the plot, like I said before.
I felt like I was watching
Yeah,
someone playing
maybe.
an XCOM game, and they were going from mission to mission, trying to learn new things, and I just didn't feel like it was a part
Yeah,
of a whole.
it becomes more about them reciting the themes to you than it does like feeling you're invested in what's going on.
I mean, yeah, they do discuss the themes as dialogue, right? But
That's another weird point. There's also throughout it, it kind of feels like they don't know whether they want to make the themes explicit or implicit, which really bugged me. Like sometimes they'll have the giant like roboty guy, whatever, the puppet master hanging up. You've got the scene where he's in the body and he's hanging up, and he directly says he wants to have asylum and he's a robot, blah blah blah. He's sentient. And then other times it tries to be like more implicit. It's like it doesn't know how to decide, and that really bugs me.
I'm not sure what implicit things are you talking about, but I think it's more explicit because they actually straight up talk about how like the difference between humans and cybernetic AI, and how the major questions her identity, like in the elevator scene. Yeah, I think. What do you think is like more implicit in this show?
It's no, it's the exact same themes. It's the same themes are being talked about in different instances, but where they choose to be implicit and explicit is odd. It just feels like they generally when you're doing a movie, you want to either make the underlying themes be implicit and hide beneath the storyline and still have importance but be an extra part, or you want them to be above the storyline. But it feels like it tries to do both, and especially with themes of sentience as you go throughout the story, it doesn't feel like they've chosen one or the other.
I kind of feel like we all watched this movie and we all didn't like it and we all agree that we didn't like it and then like now we have
No,
nothing to talk about.
no, I liked
But
it.
what did you
Right,
like
Zubin,
about
what do
it?
you
Too.
have?
What did
What do
you
you
like?
have to?
What did you like,
Wait.
Subin?
No, what do you have to say about like the themes of the movie? About what Angus is saying about implicit and explicit, and what do you think
I'm,
the big meanings are?
I mean, he is right that that's kind of a mess, but like, still kind of nice. That doesn't really detract from my enjoyment. I think that's more of a personal thing.
Okay, so that we're all on the same page, you want to tell us what you thought the main messages of the movie were?
I mean, it's more about the idea of like life in a digital universe. Like, if you remember, this movie was made in 1995 before we had smartphones and everything. So like, if you look at it from that perspective, it's pretty predictive on like how connected to everything we become.
Yeah.
But does that make it a good movie?
Yes.
It's an idea that contributes. That contributes to it being good. Yeah, like the world building of how science has gone to a point where memories are electronic feels kind of.
Yeah.
That was cool. It really did a good
Yeah.
job illustrating how evolution and what does it really mean to be human anymore.
That's exactly what it is. But the
Especially
movie,
like
but the
especially
plot
with that
not that
one,
good.
especially with that one guy who's like the guy from early in the movie where he had his photo with his daughter, but the daughter was just a memory.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The trash man.
The
He got hacked.
he got
I'm
hacked.
the
Right.
trash man.
Yeah.
Facts.
He got hacked by the
Get into
bad
the
guy.
rink
I think
and
that
let's
was
start
probably
throwing garbage.
that was probably my favorite part of the movie because like it really is a microcosm of the questions that are being asked. I think my bigger problem with the movie is that it does a good job asking the questions, but not a good job of giving you an answer.
But there is no answer.
Yeah, I
These
don't think
questions don't have an
But-
answer.
I don't think it should give an answer.
But it should give
That's, like, the
like
whole point.
potential answers, or at the very least like lead you somewhere.
Yeah, like edge on something,
I mean,
but
Yeah.
it doesn't have to give you an
philosophy is
explicit
just-
answer.
philosophy is just asking questions
Yeah.
with no like real
That's
answers
the
to it.
same thing in modern science also. Asking questions is more important than giving the answers to them.
But asking questions is not more interesting when it comes to a movie. There's a difference between modern philosophy and entertainment.
What are you debating? I didn't like the movie. Why are you telling that to me?
I'm not saying that directly to you.
Saying that to
I'm just
everyone.
yeah.
I mean, I don't think. I think theoretically, it's not that every single piece of art has to give an answer. Like Monster is a story that doesn't give an answer to its questions, but it gives you so much context and subtext throughout the entire story that it leads you to be able to make your own decision. Whereas, like in Ghost in the Shell, it just kind of
Leads you and drops you.
yeah, you don't have enough. There's not enough there that you can just say what you want.
That's why you should watch more.
That's why I should watch. This is a trap. I should read the manga.
No, I heard the manga was kind of weird.
I mean, it's kind of like Nausicaa. How many of you have seen Nausicaa?
Nausicaa, like the Ghibli film.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've seen it.
like it's kind of like that.
I haven't. I've seen it like a long time ago. I can't remember the specific plot of that movie anymore.
Okay. So okay, if you guys could have your brain uploaded into a cyborg, would you do so?
It's not a question of could. It is, isn't it?
No.
It's not a what?
What?
Isn't it compulsory?
But if you could,
No,
it
it's-
is
He's asking a hypothetical.
Like hypothetically, like if you can do it, would
depends
you do it?
if how many other people are doing it. Like if the whole world's doing it, then probably yeah. But if it's not the whole world, then probably no.
So how much of the whole world needs to do it for you to do it?
Enough to be peer pressured.
The TOK
Wrong and
question.
asking the
These are
important questions
These are
here.
just groupthink.
Okay. How many of you would like to install like an Ethernet port in your brain so you can directly connect your brain to the internet?
Yeah, but that's not the point, is it?
Can you imagine how hard it would
No,
be
it
to
is the
sleep?
point. It's
How
kind of
hard would
like
it
the
be to
pros and
sleep?
cons of relying on these things to the point where it becomes you.
Nah,
But
I
you-
think humans should not tamper with immortality. It just leads to trouble.
But we don't know that.
According to
yeah,
what? Media?
Yeah, we never had anyone get there before. mate.
According to real life experiences,
But
like
no one.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, Avik has tampered with
Who can
immortality,
forget the
guys.
real life immortal?
Guys, I
He's
think
gained immortality.
Avika just leaked his family secrets.
Yeah. Like yeah.
I mean, you can make the argument that we're already cyborgs, right? Like, if we have glasses, does that make us
No, no.
cyborgs?
No, man.
I can make
think
the
it's more of the
argument that we're in
foam
a
part,
simulation
right?
right now. That's the
Oh,
argument.
God.
And I can make the argument
What?
that
That's
turkeys are smarter than all of us, and that's not a good argument. Maybe we shouldn't be making these.
Is this the same as your argument?
That's a very good argument.
It's an irrelevant argument.
How is it irrelevant?
Is
only
that a
started
thing
it.
that was explored? No, that's a completely different. This isn't the Truman Show
Yeah, that's not-
or the
that's not-
Matrix.
Should we
The
talk about the
Truman Show.
wailing screaming
Okay,
shows?
wait. Can I
that
tell you one more thing? The Matrix derives its action scene from Ghost in the Shell. It's influenced by it.
Yeah,
So there you go.
But the Matrix is shit, so who cares?
Yeah,
I
it
don't
is
know
shit,
what the
but we're
point
just
was
talking
there,
about it.
but Thank you for that
Wait, Angus, what were you saying?
movie stuff.
So what do we want to? What are people's thoughts on the wailing, screeching sounds that were meant to be music in it?
Wow, are you just dissing the
Dude,
Japanese?
Oh,
No,
folk
the
music?
best
Wow.
part about the music in this movie is that now when we get that song in AMQ, I'm not gonna put
kinda
Kimetsu no
racist.
Yaiba.
Yeah, everyone's gonna know it.
I'm not gonna put Kimetsu no Yaiba anymore because it literally sounds like almost
What?
exactly the same.
A little, yeah.
I mean, it's like Japanese folk music, you know, those type of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it sounds a bit like what you hear in Ghibli movies.
It feels.
No, I don't
It
think
gave
does.
me it gave me Ghibli movie vibes a bit, and like kind of the montages of like buildings and stuff. I don't know.
It felt kind of strange,
I
right?
guess
Like,
it's
why
like
are you
the-
playing? Why are you playing this creepy folk song on top of the cyborg being built?
That was a bit weird.
I
Like,
think
the
it was
part
kinda-
where
it
we
was
like
really
going
out of
through
place.
the city, I like that.
That was like the.
It's Yeah, it's
was
not like the
kinda-
best role intro. It's like to make it clear, like it's artificial, like how she's
Yeah.
been created.
But just like
Yeah.
the
But
only
is the
thing,
music
the only
doing
beef that I
anything for
have with
that?
the
The
music
music
is
is
that they
taking
have
away from
one
that.
song and it's just that one song over and over and over again, and like it never
True.
changes.
I'm pretty sure there's like 2 entire songs in this movie.
Well, there's.
Well, I only
yeah,
remember
yeah.
one, so like.
It's usually EOPs and EDs. They just have the same songs as like different versions.
I actually liked the soundtrack in the sense that it knew when to be silent, because a lot of anime nowadays just have the soundtrack playing throughout the entire movie except for the important scenes where it's silent. But this one kind of just like didn't overexpose people to what they should feel.
Yeah.
In that sense, it's kind of like, I think, like I was saying before, it's kind of leading you to making you want to give your own perspective on the movie's themes, even though, like I said, it didn't do a good job at it, but that was contributing.
So Avik, you mentioned earlier like the deep philosophical themes of the movie. What do you think are some of those themes, and how did they explore it well?
I feel like the concept of uploading your consciousness to the internet is like, it's debatable because it's essentially making yourself immortal and essentially voiding you of all crimes if you change bodies, and that's the main context of the movie. So I mean, it debates morality and I guess something like that.
Identity, and like it also talks about how whether an AI is human. They have that conversation where the puppet master was like, "Oh, I want political asylum, right?" And the other guy was like, "No, you're not human, because you don't have like, you can't die and don't have reproductive organs and stuff."
Yeah.
But like, he argues back like,
Should that be the difference between human?
yeah, if humans get to the point like as a cyborg, you can't reproduce and you don't die. Are you still human? Like the major, is she still human?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, okay. A P zombie is basically like a creature like that will behave like a human, but it's just a series of if-else statements. Like there's no actual internal thought. They're just programmed to behave exactly like a human.
What? Did you just say if-else statements?
Yeah.
I see.
Imagine like a robot with like
No.
an infinite
Zoom
number
it,
of
no.
if-and-else statements.
Well,
No,
if it has
Zoom
an infinite number, then effectively it's a human, right?
But then the processing time
It
will be
behaves
infinite.
like one, but is it a human?
I mean, no.
It's a thought experiment.
Yeah, it's not like, we're not saying it's gonna be like real soon or whatever. I mean, it might be real. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, but would an infinite sequence of if-and-else statements be human?
No, because they weren't created by God.
Yes.
Listen, what makes us human is the fact that we are alive.
But what does it mean to be
Yeah, but
alive,
if-
mate? Is the question that the whole thing questions, and what
The
makes
rest of the
those-
universe is
Is that
dead, and we are alive because our cells do work to stay alive.
But that's all living
And-
things. So is like a dog human now?
Yeah.
A dog is not human, at least it's living.
Okay.
Okay, but then what's the difference between living and human?
Yeah.
What's the difference between living and dying?
Nothing. An eternity. I don't know.
There's no difference
Would you
between
would you say that the cyborgs are living?
The cyborgs are not.
Well-
I mean, they're not living. They're not living
How come?
because
they don't have
their
cells.
their cells are not opposing time. They are dead.
But so all cells can oppose time. If humans are able to start living for longer, we get more medicine, we're able to keep on living longer and longer and longer. Does that mean we're no longer, like, if we suddenly take 1,000,000 years to die, is that still living?
Yes.
Yeah, what if
Because
like,
the robots,
That's still living.
the robots will die after 1,000,000 years as
mechanics
well.
gets to the point where our cells will never ever deteriorate, and then we can just live for a much longer time, is that still living?
That is still living.
I feel like there's
We are
something
still
that someone
opposing
said
time.
before.
Time
that
is
I don't
always there.
remember-
So
I don't quite remember
Gabby
where I
said.
heard this, but there is something that someone said that living isn't really living if there's no death. So like if something can live forever, then it's not really living, is it?
That's
Because
just
it can't.
no.
Hey,
That's
Gabby, you
that's
know?
that's
The
just
Or
fact
is
that
it like
you
an
that's
can
just
outdated
a
die
that's
means
mindset?
just a
that
writer's
you're alive.
no. That's a writer's dream word.
See, I would
I'm
have.
talking about science. That's some philosophist's dream
You're
world.
talking
They can
about
go live in
science
that
is
world.
fucking.
But
Going on
That's a
philosophy,
cheesy
actually.
ass
living is a
quote, alright?
philosophical.
Yeah.
Living
Yeah,
is a
it's a
philosophical
philosophical.
concept.
Living is not
because
philosophy.
Yes, it
Living is
is.
science.
Living
Yeah,
is
it
living
philosophy.
is
I
it's
mean, you
both.
didn't even take
Life
bio.
is simple, okay? Life
No,
is
it
simple.
isn't.
We
it
just
really
we
isn't.
just
I took
I mean,
we
IB
just
you're
bio.
right,
I
aim
can
to
tell
make
you
it
what it is.
complicated, alright? We just aim to make it
Abhi, you didn't
complicated.
take bio.
I promise you, me and Zubin
F
took
you.
bio, and we can tell you that life is not simple.
Life is
It is
simple.
very complicated, and I still don't understand it. And I was supposed
Wait,
to take an
so-
exam on it last week.
Wait, so
So was
Avik, you
I.
think life is just any cells that deteriorate over time?
Yes.
Is that what you're
I'm talking about life is cells that oppose time.
So if you have
Okay,
like
but
a
what if-
machine that opposes time, is that alive?
They're made of cells.
And what
How does a
opposed
machine
time even
oppose
mean?
time?
How does cells
Yeah,
oppose
The
yeah,
time?
what the
machine
fuck
is
does
already
oppose
dead.
What do you mean by opposing
time.
How is
time?
the cell alive? What does that mean?
A cell
Abhi, you're
uses
arguing the circular.
a cell uses osmosis to remove materials which are waste materials and take in materials which are used for energy production. And
you
by
not do that
and
in a
by the
machine?
constant exchanging of these materials, it is keeping a balance inside and outside so that it can stay
Okay, so
alive and the
you're-
rest of the universe outside of it is dead.
What?
So you're saying any environment of reduced entropy is alive?
Yes. I
So
mean,
wait, so what? That's-
yeah.
I've never been
Okay,
this
so
confused
everything
in my
is alive
life.
Yeah.
because everything
A
reduces
s-
entropy.
A cell doesn't reduce entropy. It just keeps a balance that to make it stay
No,
alive.
it doesn't.
It reduces internal entropy and increases external entropy. That's what keeping a balance
Yeah.
means, Avik.
Yeah, Zubin,
If
yeah,
If
exactly.
you studied physics, you would know.
Okay, so can you not do that with a machine?
You cannot, because
Why
Why not?
because that
Why
because
not?
that machine is called Maxwell's demon and it doesn't exist.
But
Well,
we're
technically,
talking.
computers
No, that's not what-
computers operate by burning the energy that you give it from a power source, and so like technically, doesn't that make computers alive? Like I don't really understand your point
Yeah.
here.
You see,
Yeah,
you
and-
don't
and-
understand
and
that
that's
point
not
because
what
you didn't take
Maxwell's demons
physics.
is.
See,
Do you know what Maxwell's demon
yes,
is?
I know what Maxwell's demon is.
Okay, define what it is. Define
A
what
Maxwell's
it is, Avik.
demon is a hypothetical being that that uses its mind to take in system's entropy and therefore reduce the system's own entropy. But by doing that, it increases its own brain's entropy, and
Okay, so
therefore it
is a
explodes.
cell a Maxwell's demon? Is a live cell a Maxwell's demon?
No,
Okay, so why would a machine simulating the cell be a Maxwell's demon? You're not making sense.
why are we in this debate?
Why do you say why
Because
would
it's the point of the
You've done.
podcast.
You brought it up, dude.
Yeah, don't try and run away from it after you bring it
Maxwell's
up.
No.
demons do
Alright.
exist.
I'm-
It's how
There's
Hey, if
no-
you
there's
start
no
arguments, you gotta
scientific-
finish them.
There's no scientific consensus on what life is right now, so I feel like
I know, but we can have an opinion. I mean, not opinion.
No,
we can use the facts
Yes,
and
but when you
deduce
use
what we
but
know.
when you're using
Science.
facts that make no sense, it's very hard for us to
You know,
accept
I
your
think
opinion
earlier
as being
Avik was
one
Very
that
saying-
hard
has
for us
any
to
sense.
follow.
earlier Avik was saying that life being defined by having an ending was kind of like was a writer's fantasy. But then he's also saying that cells need to deteriorate for it to be alive, which is like not that different.
That's exactly what I was trying to tell him, though.
See, I'm gonna. So
It's
I'm
like
gonna-
almost the same thing, except he added in
Can
the
I put
word
out a
cells.
different viewpoint here on what living is?
What?
This is just the most boring viewpoint ever, but I think living is simply determined by the masses. Whatever society does, living is nothing more than the concept of what civilization as a whole and public opinion as a whole determines it to be.
So the dictionary.
So you're saying being alive is a social
Exactly,
construct.
exactly. The whole idea of what is alive and what
Let me see
isn't is a social construct.
But the society
I'm just
doesn't
saying,
have
with his hot takes.
society has a very vague and undefined concept of life, which is enough for almost every situation, but
that's why you have to think about how to change the definition, you know?
But why do we need to change it? Why does it matter if we change it? Who cares
Okay.
what's living?
Would you be sad if you were dead?
well, Ghost in the Shell cares what's living.
No,
I
once
wouldn't
I'm
be sad. I'd be dead.
I can't be sad. If I'm
You
dead, it would
wouldn't
be
be sad if
impossible.
you're dead. You'll be dead.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what Gabby said, yes.
Yeah.
You'll
If
be
I
you'll
gave
be
you a
sad at
button
the
and you press
prospect
the
of one
button-
day being dead, unless you just happen
Not
to
really.
be.
Death will be fine. By the time eventually, you don't want to really live much past 60, right? Because then you're too old and it starts hurting.
60
like-
is
And
when we
also,
stop
it's
having
like,
to
if
do
you
stuff,
live
and we can go through
forever,
our
then
plan to
living
watch list.
kind of loses its purpose at that point.
Life
I
is
know
about
that's
having
that's what you
Yeah,
think.
but that's just your opinion.
your whole life is meaningless and
Avik's trying to
useless.
comfort
There's some
himself
moments
about
of
his
enjoyment.
immortality.
Yes, I am immortal.
Death is just a natural
We
point.
have seen how.
It's like
Yeah, you just said you've seen it from your personal experience how immortality doesn't work. So why are you immortal?
My
How many people have you killed a week?
What did you say?
What?
What did
I
you?
think we're
like
handling some really
your
deep
experiments,
concepts
you know?
here.
I don't think so.
Okay.
That we're to an extent not entirely equipped to handle right now.
But it doesn't matter if we're equipped. Yeah. I think we all accept that we're not equipped and that this isn't an equipped conversation. This is a conversation based on what we do know and trying to figure it out from there.
This is just not a very equipped podcast in general.
Yeah. What did you expect?
If I gave you guys like a button and you could press the button and there's a 50% chance you'd either stop existing or you become immortal, like a 50-50, would you press the button?
I mean, I'll keep it
Yes.
so I'm like 60 and then press it when I
I
want
would,
to
I
die.
would,
I
I would
don't wanna
not
be
press the
immortal.
button. I wouldn't
Why
like
don't you wanna
either
be
of those
immortal?
options.
Because if you live forever, life loses its purpose.
You can always
Again, that's what you
How do you
think.
know that?
Mate, you can just kill
do you
yourself.
know
Why
that?
not immortal?
You live based on the
Not
idea that you'll someday die, and therefore you have to do everything that you want to do before you die, and that's how you live a fast-paced and fulfilling life. And also,
No,
Okay, but
I
we
don't
probably
need-
have already
that's not-
gotten it into
no,
my head
I
that
don't
I'm
think
dying
that's
at
the
30, so
only-
that's
Do you
probably
take
why
ID
I'm
because you're
fine
gonna
with
die
that.
soon?
That's
but-
definitely not the only way to live. It's
Also,
one way to live, but I think almost,
Yeah.
I think pretty much every way to live involves the prospect of dying.
Wait, is immortality mean you can't slit
Okay,
your
but
throat
that-
and kill yourself after, or
No, like it's immortality like a choice. Like you won't die of old
yeah,
age.
so you can just kill yourself when you want to die
Oh.
afterwards.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not
But why do you
fine.
want to
Still
kill
take the
yourself?
Well, once you get to a certain
still
age
take
where
the
you no longer want to
50%
live,
like-
just euthanize
Oh, you just
yourself.
get bored.
So
Why
hypocritical.
wouldn't you want to, Wrong? That's my main
Oh,
question.
okay.
Like, why don't you want to die?
In that case, I would just live
Because
till,
you
like,
don't.
100 or something, and then just die.
Euthanize
Humans
yourself.
can naturally live to 100.
Yeah. So I wouldn't want to go past like the longest.
Why not?
Why not?
You get to 100, the queen
Don't you
gives you
wanna
the
see
certificate, and then you've got
civilization
everything you
transform?
want.
Yeah. I don't need that much.
Wait, no.
But you still take the 50%.
But
chance
how
you'd
do you
stop
know you
existing,
don't
like-
need that much?
Because
I'll
if you do
figure
need
it
that
out.
much.
I mean, it's not like 100 is a set date.
It kind of is.
No. Okay. How about instead of saying I'll die, I'll kill myself at 100. I'll kill myself at X, where X is the day I want to die. And then I'll.
What
and
if you
then-
want to die
That
today?
sounds really bad.
What if it was an impulse decision?
We all make
I
impulse
would give myself
decisions.
okay. X plus 1 year, so that it's not an impulse decision.
Just make it a quadrat, make an equation, and figure
Please.
it out based on like how happy you are at minus plus whatever
I know.
years.
Find the area under the curve.
All right.
Anyway, to bring it back to Ghost in the Shell, our original topic, I think like this is relevant. It's like remember that diving scene, like where the Major has to like take the risk of like falling into the ocean and dying in order to feel human.
Yeah.
It's like is mortality like an inherent part of humanity?
Yeah. She enjoys the risk of death to feel alive
Yeah.
Obviously.
because she can't.
But do you enjoy it? No, you don't, because you're a
I
regular
love
human.
it. I freaking
yeah, it's good.
enjoy it
No,
so much. Are you
If
kidding?
if no humans enjoyed the
please
risk
don't
of
see it.
death, then stuntmen wouldn't be an occupation.
Yeah, and we wouldn't watch movies.
There's a difference
Yeah.
between adrenaline rush and risk of death.
Yes.
How many of you here have risked your lives for anything?
I mean,
How many of us have risked our life for fun?
what are we determining as
Yeah.
risking our
Probably
lives?
many?
me. I just
I've
didn't
done that.
realize that
I've
I
done
was
it many
risking
times.
my life.
I don't think I've done it.
Like
I'm just-
when?
I've done it.
I don't know.
like-
That's the thing.
like
The other
walking-
thing is that like you don't really ever know when you're risking your life, because how are you supposed to know that you almost died if you didn't die? You know what I mean?
Just
like,
be
I
like
mean-
in a
I mean,
dangerous
when I
situation.
decide to
McDonald's.
eat the sugar, if I'm gonna eat some chocolate or whatever, and I do that, I generally,
might
as a
get
whole,
cardiac
throughout my
arrest.
life, decide not to eat the world's most healthy lifestyle. I'm relatively just not amazing because I'm willing to risk it because I want life to be enjoyable. I'm risking my life for that.
Yes.
If I wanted to have a boring ass life, I would
Every
eat the most
time you
boring
eat
shit on this earth.
McDonald's,
That's true.
You're saying we risk our lives every day. We have high fat, high butt, high cholesterol.
we risk our lives
Yeah.
all the time.
yes.
Every time you get into a car, you're risking your life. When you open your window, you're risking your life. Like when you do things, you're always risking your life. You never know what's gonna happen.
Bro, we could be studying ahead instead of doing this podcast, and we'd be in like getting the top highest jobs.
I mean, no, we wouldn't.
Study ahead of what?
We could.
We'd be unemployed.
We could get higher jobs.
In this economy, I don't think any of us are getting
Yeah.
jobs
No.
anytime soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
But the
I believe
probability is
about
higher.
80% of us,
Your risk.
I think 80% of us will either be unemployed or employed by our relatives.
Alright,
Yeah, we're all about to be unemployed.
Oh.
I feel like in 20 years, I think we're all gonna be unemployed. Naren's probably gonna be still drawing commissions. I'm gonna be dead.
Yay.
Yeah.
Boy.
That sounds so fun.
I guess Gabby
yeah.
was too busy risking her life for fun.
Nice.
How do you plan to risk your life?
Well, for
By
example,
doing
You don't
something
plan to,
dangerous.
that's the thing.
Go skydiving or something.
yeah,
you
it's
know?
like when you decide to climb up at like over a 20-meter drop for fun to get to the other side. You're not doing it.
For fun, yeah.
Do you do
I've
that?
done that a couple of times.
I've done that before.
Oh.
When?
When I've been going up mountains.
Probably
When
and
I've
haven't
been in
had
mountains.
options. Yeah. Like when
Alright.
But you
you.
had
No,
a
no, no,
rope.
because we've had moments where we're like summiting whatever, small mountains, like only like 4K ones, and then you don't have the ropes and you want to get to the top, but there's some drops and stuff, and you have to climb it, and you just use your hands and rope climb without ropes.
Fun.
That's silly. That's stupid.
It's a
But it's
calculated
fun.
risk.
That's the whole point,
Yeah, but
Zubin.
what is?
It's a calculated
stupid, or
risk,
is
but
it
if
just-
you're bad at math, then that's unfortunate.
No,
I'm
it's
real bad at math.
It's calculated if you know your body can handle that stress. I mean, for Angus, it's fine.
I mean, you don't know. Because, like, the rock
Yeah,
could just
a
give
bird
way.
might like hit you in the face.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you know if you're an average human being.
No,
Alright?
but if an eagle attacks you randomly while you're going across,
I don't think any of us
Yeah.
are average human beings.
I'm pretty sure all of you are average.
Are we all
human
below
beings.
average or
we-
above
are we
average?
What do you think,
thing is,
Gabby?
we have
We're
to be
recording a
average.
podcast
All
about
of-
anime and not even talking about anime.
This is about the anime though.
It's tangentially related. It's okay. It's okay. I don't think we're not high IQ enough to be able to actually talk about the movie
Yeah.
itself without doing it in a general sense. All right.
I think I'm too small brain for the plot.
okay, yeah.
Concluding statement. This movie was pretty garbage. No one watched
Yes.
it.
Well,
I wouldn't say garbage.
With an average
it's
score
not
of
garbage.
negative
You're
1.
just-
It had potential, but was a
Huh?
letdown. Shall we say it that way?
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
it had
some of us
potential.
thought
It
it
was
was
going
a-
somewhere.
it's good. I like
It allowed for
Yeah.
future innovation.
It was going
My
somewhere,
thesis
alright.
yeah, it was going somewhere, but then it just stops for me.
It didn't have enough tits for a Veek.
I think it had plenty of tits.
Yeah, I think it had more than enough.
Alright.